Hello guys, and welcome to episode 93 of the NGB Podcast. I'm your host Ben, and this week I'm joined by Mr. Gary Clark.
What up?
What up? And I'm also joined by Nico. How are we doing, Nico?
Yeah, not bad, thank you very much.
Good. So, as we were... this is actually the second take of this podcast, you know, little peek behind the curtain. We were saying before, it's the true NGB Podcast, because we got Nico, Gary and Ben, all in one. So, it's a bit of an old school vibe, I think Nico said before. So it's...
It is indeed.
Yeah, it takes me back to that time when me and Nico shared a room in E3. I say shared a room. We also shared a bed. But let's not talk about that, because we're here to talk about video games.
So many stories.
Please don't.
I mean, I think it was a roll of Mentos that was... Anyway, Nico, what have you been... I was going to ask what we've been playing, but I'm pretty sure we can probably guess what Nico's been playing, because it will probably be Destiny and PES.
Correct. Although, like I said in our first take, there was a bit of Overwatch slipped in there.
Okay.
Talking about slipping things in, there was definitely a little bit of Overwatch, and every now and again, I try and put in some time on WWE 2K. So I've been kind of alternating between the four. But yeah, you're right. Mainly PES and Destiny.
Cool. I mean, obviously we'll get onto it shortly. But are you all prepped for the Destiny reveal, which by the time this goes out may have happened?
Prepped, excited, erect, like anything that you can think of. I'm ready. I am. This is hyped.
Awesome. So, Gary, what about yourself? What have you been on with this past couple of weeks? Because it's been a while. I think last time we spoke, you were on with Horizon.
Yeah. Still haven't finished that. Still need to find time to finish it. I'm right at the end. I don't know what's up with me. A little bit of that. A little bit of FIFA and a little bit of PES. But mainly, I've been playing I say mainly. It's hardly been playing it really, but ukulele. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's fine. It's not amazing.
Yeah.
I like some aspects. It brings back the sort of nostalgia from the sort of mid-90s sort of platformers like Banjo and all that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, that's a bad thing, I think, because they haven't aged too well, in my opinion. And I know the sort of developers are saying that they're releasing updates to fix the camera and bits and pieces, which is good. But yeah, it's fine. I can understand totally why some of the reviews were a bit sort of negative towards it. I'm sort of in between. I wouldn't say it's great and I wouldn't say it's bad. I would sort of say it's fine. It's got that charm that everyone loved from the sort of the Banjo days and that. So yeah, I played. Yeah, not much. Probably an hour or two on it. Again, I need to just find time. I just haven't had enough time to play games at the moment. So once I do, I'm just going to sit down and play it for a sort of a bigger session. But yeah, it's absolutely fine as a game, personally, I think so.
Have they patched a map into it yet?
They might have. I do not know, mate, to be honest. But when I played it, there wasn't.
That's still a baffling decision to me, because we played a bit... we sort of had a look at it with Andy, because he obviously reviewed it. He quite liked it, but yeah, I couldn't get on with it. There was no map, and I just felt a bit. That. Yeah, just there was a lot of stuff missing, I thought, which was a bit strange.
I'm glad they're fixing the camera, because I've had issues with it where it sort of doesn't keep up with where your sort of character is. And I know they're sort of changing the way the sort of camera moves and when you move. So that's good. But yeah, the whole map thing is a bit odd.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's essentially that. What have I been playing this past week? Quite a lot, actually. I think we've been playing a few bits for review here and there, and also just for a couple of videos for the site. So the first up, got a couple of VR games through today, which again, I think I can get away with saying this because the embargo is tomorrow as we're recording. So yeah, the first one is VR Karts, which is not that great on first impression. I mean, after hammering Mario Kart for the best, well, the best part of all of my days since launch. It's a big step back to go to something that's really as basic as that. And I mean, it's motion sickness central, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah,
it's just a bit bad. Like you'll be going along, and there's a power up in the game that actually switches.
Makes you vomit.
It might as well do. It switches like the way that you your steering works. So like left will turn you right, right will turn you left.
Oh no!
And I mean, it'd be annoying enough in a normal game, but when you're in VR, like, all of a sudden, any connection that you had to the world with the control scheme is suddenly flipped, and it's like, oh shit off now.
Whose idea was that?
Absolutely not. It's terrible. Also been playing a game called Dick Wild, which is a bit of a shooting gallery, but it's kind of it's a shooting gallery with a bit of a twist. You basically have to clear out swamps of all kinds of critters and crocodiles and stuff like that. So there's it's fairly standard stuff, but it does work with the PlayStation Aim controller, which we'll sort of get into shortly. And the PlayStation Aim controller I actually think it's a bit of a game changer, if I'm honest. It does a lot of
cool.
Yeah, it does a lot of stuff really well, and we've got a video review up for Farpoint at the moment, which is the other major game that I've been playing this week. And essentially, we sort of go through it a little bit in there. A lot of people thought it was just a holder for your Move controller, like that one for, was it Killzone that had?
Yeah, I believe so.
Was it the sharpshooter?
Yeah, that name definitely rings a bell.
Yeah,
I think you're right there.
Yeah, so they had like a controller that you just popped an aim controller in, whereas the aim controller the Move controller you put in the end. The aim controller is now a separate device, and it's basically got all of the buttons of a DualShock 4, and they're sort of spaced in a really pleasant way. Like, it doesn't feel unnatural. And yeah, it's a hefty piece of kit. And it does feel like you've got a weapon in your hand. So, when you've got something in VR... sorry, go on, go.
No, I was just going to say, so it's not essentially just a shell on top of top of the Move controller. It's actually like the way they've designed it is like functioning for that game.
It's a fully fledged piece of kit.
That's good, yeah.
It's very cool.
Yeah. Ben will remember this when we went to that PlayStation event. Mm-hmm. We all got to try Farpoint then. This is a little while ago as well.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking then, this is the game. Like, this is the game that is going to bring in, big bucks for Sony, because this is a really, it's really immersive, and it's like the kind of first real FPS title that they've had, and the controller just adds to it tenfold.
Yes, I think
it looks really good. Yeah,
I mean, I think the thing is, it's if this was released as just a standard first-person shooter, you'd probably see it getting like 5s and 6s across the board.
Yeah.
But because of the added element of it being in VR and with the aim controller as well, that you can play it with the DualShock 4, but really you need to play it with the aim controller. It just adds so much more to the game.
Yeah.
100%.
How much is it? Is the aim controller included with it?
So you can get Farpoint on its own, which I think is sort of standard game price, so 45 quid. It's 45 or 50 quid, I think. But you can get it in a bundle with the aim controller, and I think the recommended price on that's 75 quid, which I don't think's too bad.
No,
I don't think so either. Not when you take into consideration the price of the game by itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think given how we've seen some of the pricing, which again we'll come on to on some other systems, has been recently, that's not a bad price for a peripheral and a game, particularly a peripheral that does as much as it does for the game itself. So
I just hope the majority of the people buy it with that low, because it's a bit worrying that there's going to be people out there that go, no, I won't buy that, and I just buy it standard and then don't get the full experience out of it, maybe. Is that a worry, do you think?
Possibly. I think the people that are going to buy it without the peripherals are going to be the type of people that would just be probably just be interested in VR in general rather than like the hardcore. 'Cause I think if you're going to spend £40 on a game, and not bother to get the controller, I think they're going to be the kind of people that will. Yeah. They bought the PSVR as a bit of a novelty.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, exactly. And there's not many of them, to be honest with you. Not a lot of people will drop £350 on something and not use it to its full potential.
Yeah, so
true.
It'd be interesting to see if they put any sales figures out for it. But I think the reviews have been kind of mixed. I think some of the reviews I've seen are a little bit different, a little bit lacking, I think, in terms of... or that they found Farpoint lacking, in terms of like depth and things like that, which again is probably fair, but I think a lot of people that have reviewed that side of it have also done a lot of PC VR reviews, whereas we necessarily haven't done that. So, I mean, again, played it on the PS4 Pro with the PSVR, and it's great. Like I really like everything they've done around it, but I think I actually like the hardware a lot more than I like the game. But moving back to the other game, which was Dick Wild, that uses the aim controller as well, and it just adds so much to the game. Like you almost, it sounds so cliche, but you almost kind of forget that you're sat in a room somewhere. Like I actually headbutted the wall that's next to me at one point, ducking out the way of something. Amazing. Yeah. Oh. But that's what the aim controller can bring, and I think they've priced it about right. So hopefully it'll start to make some inroads, and hopefully it doesn't get left behind. In terms of the rest of it. So that's that. And other than that, really, it's kind of been a mix of a few older games and like Mario Kart. I just keep hammering that. So
amazing game.
Mario Kart 8 on the Switch it's a fantastic game, and the Switch is still selling really well, which I think that actually leads me nicely onto the news, because that's pretty much everything I've been playing. So the first part of news is that the Switch is the best-selling console in the US for the second month in a row.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm impressed by that. I think Nintendo have seemingly hit, that they'd seemingly hit gold again with this. Yeah. I think more than 280,000 Switch consoles were sold during the month, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sold 460,000 physical copies in just 2 days.
Wow.
So
seems like Nintendo have learnt from their mistakes with the Wii U. I
mean, clear messaging. That's to me, that's exactly what it is. Clear messaging, and they've also, I mean, Mario Kart 8 also when it came out in the UK, we discussed this when we did the Prey video review. It beat Prey to the top of the charts, which I was so surprised by.
Yeah.
Because obviously Prey's a multi-platform game, and
it's jumped up to number 1 this week, I believe.
It has, yes.
Prey. Yeah, but even just to keep it off on its opening week. It's impressive.
Yeah.
And I also noticed this week as well that the Neon sort of consoles are coming in stock sort of quite frequently now. So for those that haven't picked one up, you've got.
I think they're coming for you, Nico.
Yeah, that was loud. That was police going past Nico's house by the sounds of it. For those wondering.
Yeah, he's got a stockpile of stolen Switches. That's what it is.
I bloody well wish.
So Gary, you were saying the Neon Switches are back in, and it just seems like
they're not like there's not like thousands of them, but they are sort of frequently sort of being sort of replenished in stores and online by the sounds of it. So which is a good thing, because that means the people that haven't got a Switch yet and they wanted the Neon one, they can finally pick them up. So
it seems like it's doing really well, and I think there was a story a couple of weeks ago where they were saying that instead of putting them on boats and actually physically shipping them across the world, they were putting them on like cargo planes because they just need to get the stock out. Which I don't know if they'd have anticipated this level of success with it, but that's what you get when you make really good hardware and you message it well. So
definitely, yeah.
Right, today as I talk, it is Wednesday, and today we had a shitload of new game announcements.
We did indeed.
So we're going to save the big one till last, because that's kind of the main topic of the podcast this week. But we had South Park: The Fractured But Whole is finally getting released this year.
Is it?
Yay!
Well, apparently.
Is it though?
I mean, if it doesn't, I'm marching on Ubisoft. You know, because I want this game so much. Like, I love the Stick of Truth.
Same.
Looks hilarious.
Can't wait for this game. So it's apparently launching on the 17th of October, which will be a welcome relief to everybody that's that's been waiting for it. I think that will probably coincide with, if not the... Oh, no, it won't be the end of the season, because the new South Park season's due at the end of August, I think, so it'll probably...
Yeah, August, yeah.
So it'll probably be something around then.
But, yeah, in a way it sort of ties together, because people are still going to be in there. They're still going to be talking about it, sort of thing, so it sort of does tie it in some ways, doesn't it? So even though they're not that close together, but yeah. So, I mean, like I said, The Fractured But Whole, I can't wait. Like, give me the game now. It's been stewing for so long. I just want to play it. Next up, we also have... did you guys see this one about Parappa the Rapper and Gitaru Man? The guys behind those two games are working on a new rhythm action game. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Kind of insane.
Yeah, so it's called Project Rap Rabbit, and it's currently on Kickstarter. So apparently it's it's taken some stuff from Parappa, but they've said, like, the thing was with Parappa, they never quite got it about, as rapping as they wanted it to be. It was all a bit, it was very much, well, as it was for the PlayStation, it was quite simplistic and everything else. So I'm intrigued to see what happens with this, because Parappa is definitely, one of my favourite classic games. Although you can complete it in about 45 minutes. So yeah, I'd be interested to see what happens with that. And apparently there is a Nintendo Switch stretch goal for it as well, where initially they wanted nearly $5 million to make a Switch version.
Wow.
But that's now dropped to $1.5 million. So we'll see what happens with that one. Currently, as I mention it, I think it's about 15% of the way through funding. So hopefully that will pop along and do quite well.
Yeah.
What else got announced today? So Formula 1 2017. In the first of two big discussions about annualized franchises in the sporting world, F1 is back this year, so I'm excited about that. I don't really watch all that much F1 anymore on the telly, but the games are always superb.
I feel like the games are a little bit more exciting than watching it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So the big thing about this one is that the classic cars are back in the game this year. So we're getting... let's have a look what we've got here. So we've got the 1992 car that took Nigel Mansell to the championship.
I was hoping you was going to say that.
Yeah. We've also got the McLaren... the all-one race in the 1988 season, and the 2002 Ferrari, as that's basically one that Schumacher and Barrichello...
Schumacher, yeah. Nice.
Just kept finishing first and second all the time. So that sounds like it's going to be pretty cool.
I used to be mad into Formula 1 games when I was younger, like really ridiculously into them, and I used to buy them every year. I never bought F1 2016. I don't know why. I haven't really got a reason to say why I didn't buy it, but it just sort of went by and I didn't bother with it. But this sounds like because I know 2016 was a good game, so by what you're saying, it sounds like they're making a good game even better. So yeah, I'm definitely intrigued by this.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing was when they jumped over to the PS4 and the Xbox One, it was a bit lacking in terms of like the features and the modes and stuff. But last year they brought back career mode in a big way. They brought back so much stuff, and it was brilliant. Like, I absolutely loved last year's game, and I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, it looked good. Yeah.
So yeah, obviously then we've got it's essentially going to be an interesting take on the season, I think. So we shall have to see what happens with that one. Also today, Shadow of War, the Middle-earth game, got a new trailer. That looks very nice.
That does look good, yeah.
Super excited for that one.
Yeah. I mean, I never really played Shadow of Mordor, so did either of you guys get into them? Or
I did, yeah. I played Shadow of Mordor. That was an awesome game. So much fun, and it's while you're not directly playing as anyone who was in Lord of the Rings, just being in that same universe, if you like Lord of the Rings, a lot of the lore obviously comes up, and it's so much fun. Some really good mechanics in that game as well, so I'm super excited for the sequel.
Awesome.
Yeah, it does look very good.
Yeah,
I must say, even I wasn't into Shadow of Mordor, but like, I can understand why people were, because it looked incredible. But yeah, this Shadow of War looks amazing from the trailers I've seen. So
cool. Yeah. So let's have a quick look. We've got there's another game that got announced there. I think it's another sports game. Is it PES?
What's PES?
PES 2018.
Ah, yeah, I remember that game. Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think it is the one you're talking about. I think. Yeah. Let's go with it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we'll go along with it anyway. Fuck it. PES got announced. New trailer, kind of dropped.
Teaser.
Yeah, a little teaser. The full trailer is going to be unveiled on the 13th of June, so it's E3. Yeah, like I'm pretty on board with this. I think the biggest news for a lot of people is that the PC version is going to be
on
based
par, with the PS4 and Xbox One versions.
Yeah,
fuck PC. I'm joking, by the way.
I am not.
Mate,
I'm joking.
You're gonna face some ire of the fanboys. So yeah, I mean, I play PES annually. I buy it and play through it, and I tend to drop off kind of around February, March time with it, and pick it up every now and then if I've not got much to do. So I'm going to hand over to you guys, and you can sort of dissect a little bit more of what was there today. So obviously there was the screenshots, there was the list of new bits and bobs, and also the trailer as well. So over to you guys.
Yeah. On top of that, we also have the pre-order options. So there's some interesting stuff. I guess just sort of starting it off, the things that I was most impressed with: improved player models. I think you don't really get prolonged view at the players, but people have dissected already. They've cut out little clips, and the player models look insane. They've definitely reworked it from the ground up, and they look fantastic. On top of that, something else I picked out, I don't know if you saw this, Gary, was the player tattoos.
Yes, Suarez, I noticed his.
Yeah.
That was really cool. And another thing I noticed as well, which you probably wouldn't, you're not going to see it in gameplay cam at all, but in close up, the way that when the ball hits like the line markings, it like the sort of paint sort of sprays up,
skids up. Yeah,
absolutely. That's really cool. Like little touches like that. Like PES has always been famous for like little touches like that. That's what made it so like one of the great things that it had on the PS2, little touches like that. So yeah, it looked really cool. But the tattoos, I didn't expect that, to be honest.
Yeah, just a quick one on the tattoos. Actually, there was a quote from Konami that's been put on Eurogamer in particular. It says Konami's agreement with partner teams will also see tattoos recreated on players as well. So
yeah, because obviously they have to have, like, they can't do everyone's tattoos because a footballer might own the tattoo, so they have to obviously get the license to use it. But obviously as a partner, that makes sense because they sort of got the whole shebang or whatever. So but yeah, it's really cool little touch, I must say.
Yeah.
The one thing that really stands out for me is like the Master League stuff. It sounds
100%.
like they're completely, because I think PES 2017 is a great game on the pitch. Off it, in terms of stuff like Master League, which is the mode I play the most, it just didn't grab me. It was just too sort of stagnant. It was very similar to how it's always been. Yeah, exactly. And it had a few bugs here and there. I know they fixed them in the end. But yeah, this sounds like they're giving it a complete sort of revamp, if you will. It just sounds like I posted this on Twitter earlier. I said the things that I wanted sort of improved seem to be getting improved. And stuff like the new penalty system and new free kick system. Yeah. They're the two things I hated. And I'm over them, especially the penalty system. I actually used to hate getting a penalty on PES. It was so bad. And the free kick system wasn't great either, but it sounds like they're doing all that as well. So it's good stuff. I
100% agree about the penalties and free kicks. I think if you can ask anyone in the PES community will know who Graham Day is. You can ask Graham Day. Every time he's seen me take a penalty in PES at an event over the last 2 years, I've missed it every single time.
It's just hitting hope, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So, it's an absolute nightmare. But to know that they've redone that, and they've listened to the feedback, because that was a big part of the feedback that was given last year. To know that they've actually been listening is really good. And then there's little things that they've done. Like the random select matches.
Yeah.
What else? The pre-season tournaments back in Master League. That's part of it.
Yeah, that's brings it all together, right?
Yeah. And then things like 2v2 online. And
I was just about to say that. Yeah, that's really cool. Just hopefully the servers are up to scratch. I reckon they will be, but yeah, obviously at the moment, because it's so early, we've just got to hope. But yeah, online sort of co-op 2v2 and 3v3 sounds fantastic. So let's fingers crossed that it all goes well. So yeah, there's some great little, like they obviously haven't shown us everything yet. This is just, what do they call it? Super 7 legendary changes, they called it, didn't they? In their press release. Yeah. But yeah, what they sort of, just those 7 there, just sounded great. But yeah, just going back to what you said about like the player models, Nico. Yeah, I noticed there's one section in the teaser that shows, I think it's PSG sort of players in the background, and you can tell that their sort of stance, the way they're moving, is completely different. It just looks it looks more natural, more fluid. It's just I just want to see it now in action. It looks really, really good. So good. Well,
we don't have too long to wait. Not too long to wait until the final reveal. I think it's just over 3 weeks. Because we're coming into the end of May soon. So just sort of between 3 and 4 weeks to go until E3, and then what are we looking at? They released the release dates of the game already. So I think it's 12th of September in the US and 14th in the rest of the world. So. Not too long. Coming up to May, June, July. So 4 months and then the game is out, and we've only just had the announcement. So
exactly,
very exciting times if you're a PES fan.
And if you're a Barca fan as well, you've got the Barca edition.
Absolutely,
you're sorted.
I mean, the stadium model and the sort of close up in the tunnel in particular. God,
amazing!
Damn it looks impressive. I mean, PES has always been, as of the sort of recent editions, it's been the game that has been the most impressive on the pitch for me.
Yes.
I think, obviously, we're going to have... We will forever have the arguments of whether, FIFA or PES, and it's like, well, they're turning into two very different football games.
Yeah,
and I think that's
definitely.
that's a good thing to have. Like, you've got one that's I think I saw I think it was Dave from
Fathead.
Yeah, Foothead earlier on today that was talking about like the differences in between them. Like, with one you're kind of reliant on your skill as well as like the players that you've got, whereas the other one you're kind of more reliant on the players because they all sort of play more or less the same. And I'd probably agree with that in terms of, I think FIFA is very much a numbers game. Whereas, if you get the players with the higher numbers, then you're more or less guaranteed to win. I don't know how accurate that is these days, at least, but that's certainly how it felt to me over the past few years. Whereas
another thing yeah, go on. Sorry.
As I say, whereas with PES, you can do, without meaning to nail my colours to the mast, you can do a Lincoln and take on, any team with any team and more or less, try and grind out a result and maybe sneak a win,
agree.
Yeah. Well, PES has always had that, I found. It's just, I can't remember what I was going to say now, but to do with the lighting. I had issues with PES 2017 at night. I know I mentioned this to Asim before. That it sort of, to me, it felt like a day game played with like lights on. It was a bit. It just didn't have the definition of like a night sort of, like the shadows and the way everything sort of lit at night, essentially. But from the screenshots, the lighting looks a lot better. It actually looks more natural to a night game now.
I mean, they set that trailer at night just for you, Gary.
They did, yeah. It's all for me. No one else. Everyone else has got the trailer in the day. I'm the only one who's got the night trailer. But yeah, it looks incredible. It really does. I just want to see more now. That's the only trouble with teasers. It literally does tease you into submission.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
It's good times for PES. They had great reviews last year, and I can just see it getting better reviews this year.
Absolutely. Like, I think the thing was, for me, that I've got a long and complex history with football. Where you sort of fell out of love with it for a few years, but this year, through a number of different things, mainly with the Mighty Imps doing what they've done this year, I've fallen head over heels for the game again. So I'm more than excited about PES 2018. So yeah, I think, as I said, the biggest things, you said the Super 7. Just run down them quickly. We've got a gameplay masterclass, which is a finely tuned set of gameplay mechanics, including Real Touch Plus, new free kick and penalty system, and the one-player kickoff, which we've discussed. Presentation overhaul. So basically, they've redesigned the UI, and they've also got the real images of players now in the game plan screen. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, so it's not based on the player model itself; it's an actual physical image, which I think they can do because they've got the. I can never remember which way the licenses are. Is it the FIFA Pro license?
FIFA Pro, yeah.
Yeah, that's the players' licenses rather than the teams, so they can do that without any issues. PES League integration, so they're going to have basically a PES League option from the main menu by the sounds of it, so it's almost like you're going to be able to have that as almost like a separate mode. If you just want to jump into some like hardcore competitive PES straight away, you can
Which is really cool, because for those that want to get involved in that, it's like there straight away sort of thing. You don't have to sort of fumble around online and doing stuff like that.
There is something similar at the moment, but I think it's taking it to the next level.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Next one was online co-op 2v2 and 3v3, which we've said. That will also have the ability for like local players as well. So if if I've got a couple of the guys around here and we want to play, you guys, we can do that, because you can have 2 or 3 locally and then 2 or 3 over the internet as well, which sounds really good.
That's really awesome.
Yep. Random selection mode's back.
Yay!
Yes, that was always great fun for me. Either I think random selection mode, just picking a team completely at random, and sort of trying to work out the best way of playing with the most bizarre collection of players. I've missed that, and I'm glad it's back.
Yeah, definitely.
So then we've got enhanced visuals. So obviously, I don't know how they're doing this. It's fucking magic. And then finally was the PC version improvements. So everybody that's been bitching about the PC version, saying this is why I pirate it because they don't make it the same as the PS4 version. If you don't fucking buy it,
exactly. It'd be interesting to see
anymore.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the sales of the PC version once it's out, see if people do actually buy it or not. Because if they don't, then it's not going to happen next year, is it?
That's exactly. I think this will determine the future of it.
I think that's the thing. Like, so many people have been bitching, and I don't want to call anybody out, but there was one question that's been asked for the podcast this week, which we'll come to in a bit. But basically, one of the questions was asked of, will this have de novo copy protection? It's like, well, I don't know, and it shouldn't really make a difference.
Exactly. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Like if you're that bothered about copy protection, that kind of implies that you're thinking about pirating it. So, I mean,
they want everyone. Well, the PC crowd wanted the PC version, so now they got to speak with their wallet.
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
Like I say, if it doesn't, like Konami have always said that the PC version isn't one of their best sellers. The PC version, should I say? And if this year it doesn't sell well, don't expect it to happen next year because they don't want to sort of pump in a ton of money on something that's not going to sell. So
yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, I think always, as far as I'm concerned, the PlayStation, and I think probably the previous gen was the Xbox, but the PlayStation's always been the lead skill,
the sort of number one, yeah.
That a lot of the developments kind of tweaked on, and it would be interesting to see whether that slowly moves to the PC or not. But we shall see.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a lot of stuff about PES. It's looking good. I think I said on Twitter earlier today that ultimately this has been one of PES 2017 was probably the best football game that I've ever played, and I think if they build on that, 2018's got me sold day one.
Yeah. And we've still got so much we haven't heard of yet. Edit mode, more online stuff, and there's a lot to come as well. So
absolutely,
exciting times.
The thing that interested me though was that there was no announcement for the Switch.
Yeah, and there's I really don't think Konami, they're just not really seeing the benefit of having a handheld title at the moment.
Which is fair enough, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit surprised. I mean, obviously it kind of caught them off guard, but I think Bomberman doing as well as it has done, I think that was one of the one of the highest selling Switch games. There was only about 3 of them at launch, but it's the numbers that Bomberman did certainly imply to me that people are hungry for games on that thing, and I mean, just imagine it. Just imagine if you have PES, and
that would
take it on the bus. Just take it on the bus, take it on the train.
I mean, I was campaigning a little while ago within WNB, just trying to get some opinions on what people would think of a PES 6, remaster on the Switch, and it was overwhelming the response that we got. People were just the idea of PES on the go. People were very, very excited.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think PES 5, I think it was on the PSP. I played the shit out of that game.
Yeah. My only issue with the Switch version, essentially, if it ever did come, is the fact that it's going to be last gen version. I think that for me personally, I wouldn't want that.
I mean, it would have to be scaled down in some respects, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's got to be based off the PS3 or Xbox 360 version, I'd imagine. I just couldn't imagine playing like the PS4 version, say for example, and being like say if it was amazing, and then going on to the Switch and then thinking, well, is this really what I want to play?
That's fair.
For me, I'm just speaking for myself. I don't think that's something I would really want to see. But if it was a Switch version built for the Switch, then yeah. But I just can't see that happening yet.
I mean,
anyway.
maybe if it didn't have like every feature of, say, Master League or something like that. If it had pretty much everything there, but there was just a couple of bits that weren't quite there. I don't know. Like, I would be very interested to see PES hit the Switch for sure. Like, absolutely,
definitely, yeah,
no doubt.
If it's worth them doing it,
But I mean, as we said in the news post today, we basically said if it takes a disc, you can play PES on it. So it's coming out for PS4, Xbox One, PS3, 360, and PC. So I'm on board. I'm not going to deny that I'm not. I think that PES 2018 is looking really nice from that initial teaser, and we shall wait to see what the next couple of months brings us. No doubt there will be tons and tons and tons and tons of analysis coming, and as soon as we can, we will get some video as well. Don't hold your breath on that one just yet, though, guys. As I say, as soon as we can get anything, we'll have it on either NGB or WENB or both. We'll see what happens. So now that PES is out of the way, that's more or less that's kind of a lot of the stuff that we wanted to talk about, isn't it? But so the main thing, the other one, sorry, is that Ubisoft have dropped a bunch of teasers this week for
haven't they just?
For pretty much everything. So we've got a new Assassin's Creed. I mean, who saw that coming, given the leaks that we had last week? We've also got Far Cry 5. I think everyone was expecting that to happen at some point. And The Crew 2. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that, to be honest.
No.
I thought personally, for me, I thought the first one was average. I know it improved over time, but I don't know. I think Forza Horizon's got that type of game nailed on to be that's like the benchmark. I don't know about that. You've got to give them the benefit of the doubt, I suppose, because they could have done massive things to that game. They could have improved a lot. So obviously we don't know anything at the moment. But Far Cry 5, I think, sounds like it's going to be their sort of the one that everyone's going to be looking at closely, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Far Cry 4 was our was that game of the year a couple of years ago, I think, wasn't
it? Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
That's going to be an interesting one. I've never gotten into the Far Cry series. I don't know what it is.
Really?
I can't. There's something about just the huge open world that I just can't quite get my head round.
Fair enough.
It's got everything I should love about games in it, but there's something that I can't quite get my head into. But maybe Far Cry 5 will be the one that turns me around onto it. I don't know. Let's wait and see on that one. And finally, last bit of news is: can you remember when Phantom Dust got announced at the Xbox press conference a couple of years back?
Yeah, I remember that.
And then they cancelled it.
Yeah.
So basically, Microsoft have put a remastered version of Phantom Dust out on the Xbox One and PC, and it's completely free.
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's out now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I did not see this news.
No, it just dropped out of nowhere. So if you're wondering what, some people lost their minds a little bit about Phantom Dust on the Microsoft press conference a couple of years back, if you want to give it a go, it's free. You've not really got too much of a chance not to. So
that's really cool.
Yeah. And also there's a massive Xbox backwards compatibility sale on at the moment on the Xbox Live Store as well. So
yeah, there is. I noticed that. Yeah,
there are
trying to entice me in.
Yeah, there are a shitload of games for sale. One of which that you cannot pick up any longer, I believe, is Alan Wake.
Alan Wake, yeah, the licensing issue.
Yeah, they've had a licensing problem with the music, so they've had to take it off sale. If you find it on a disc, you can still play it without a problem, obviously. And if you've previously purchased it, you can re-download it, which is good for me because I think I've pre-purchased it, but I've not actually got it on my Xbox. So that's going to do us for the news. Obviously, the big news was PES, and it's probably going to be the big news for a while as we, as more and more news comes out, as more people dissect bits and bobs from the teaser and everything else. So right, on to some questions. Now, obviously, we put it out from NGB and the WENB today about questions. So there are a lot of PES related questions. Some of them, I mean, they're not really for us to answer. These need to go over to Konami and the dev team and see if they're there. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd love to know the answer to some of these myself, but anyway.
We don't know.
Yeah, right. So, let's have a look. Tiago asks, skill moves, do you reckon they'll have some new animations and some new skill moves or types of shots? I'd
yes, for all of them, I think.
Yeah, I'd like to see... I'd like to see some stuff in. I think there's a lot of stuff about animations in the press release.
Yeah. Yes, there is.
It's got to be what he's asking. It's got to be in, I'd imagine, because it all ties into the animations. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very confident. I mean, more so different types of shots, 100%.
Yeah.
That's the main. We'll see some, but I wouldn't want that to be their priority anyway. To be honest with you,
exactly.
I think they said the core animations were being completely redone.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be passing, shooting, tackling, saves, etc. So those on 100%, and I expect to see some new skill moves as well.
Yeah, definitely. Couldn't have put it better myself.
Absolutely. Let's have a look. What's the next one? Do we think transfers will happen in a more regular basis on the Master League for AI teams?
Hope so.
I don't know.
Yeah, I really hope so.
One.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Gary. I hope so, but that we won't know until we all
too early
and start playing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so next one, Clivert XD asks, will the PC version have a demo?
Haven't a clue.
I mean, did it last year?
So historically, in recent history with PC, the demos have come much later than the console ones to avoid, details getting data mined, essentially. So to be honest with you, especially with the game coming up, in parity with the console versions, I would not expect to see a demo until closer to release. However, they might surprise us. They might be open with it and say, okay, well, here you go. In the spirit of this new PC version, but I'd be surprised if they did that.
Yeah. I mean, I was to be honest, I was thinking kind of the opposite there. I was thinking that if they've got, if they've made the strides with the PC version to say essentially, right, we're making good on promises this year. Like, here, have the PC version, have a demo for it nice and early, and just try and maybe make sure that the data mine can't happen. I know that would involve a lot of work, but it's something that we need to keep an eye on. I'd like to see it again, just because.
I'd love to
definitely.
See it as well.
I think the thing is, like with the PC, the modding scene. I don't know how strong the mod scene is on PC at the moment, but by all accounts, it seems like they certainly improved a lot of textures and stuff like that on the PC last year, and I mean, obviously kits are now fairly straightforward to do on the PS4 as well. So
yeah. I mean, obviously Konami themselves technically stay away from that. They sort of provide the tools for us to create fantasy, and it just so happens that our fantasy is to create reality. So
that is pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. Next question is from Ricky. He says, will there be a possibility of getting sacked in Master League mode?
I doubt it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't see that myself, but you never know. But
the problem is, like with Football Manager, that's supposed to happen because Football Manager is such a big game.
And it's hard.
And it's hardcore, exactly. So if you don't do well, you will be punished for it. But with PES, I just can't see. I can't see it being the case where they're actually going to punish you for not being good at the game.
Yeah, that's the fun of Master League, when you're sort of under pressure and you haven't won in, say, 4 or 5 games, and then you have to switch your tactics up and buy players and that sort of stuff. That's the whole fun of getting your team back to winning. So yeah, I can't see that. Football Manager, like you said, Nico, that's the reason it's in there, is because you're essentially being a proper manager. You do everything on it. So yeah, don't expect that. I don't think.
Yeah, I think that's a fair enough assessment of it. Cameron asks, the future of PES is looking really bright now. Is there a possibility one day of it overcoming FIFA on the sales front? No.
Nope, no chance ever.
Because of the licenses, essentially.
Yeah, 100%. So I had this conversation with Asim and Thomas earlier tonight because I saw this question pop up. They're quite realistic about it as well. You have too many people who are too interested in the official parts of the game. The FIFA name, it's called FIFA. That is the name of the national body of football. You cannot get much more official than that. And when you have a lot of people who aren't hardcore gamers, who just want to play as Manchester United and Juventus and Bayern Munich, not Manchester Reds. Yeah, and not even Bayern Munich don't even have a team in the game. People want the official product, or the mass want it. You have then the hardcore players who love PES, which is us three and many, many more. But they will always be outnumbered by the FIFA guys.
Yeah, definitely. It's always been the case, and it always will be, as long as FIFA's got that license.
Yeah. I mean, I think ultimately the argument with this. It boils down to an argument that I've used quite frequently with quite a lot of people is when they say, oh, but the public opinion's this. I was like, yeah, well, you know what? Public watch the fucking X Factor.
That's true.
Like
they voted Donald Trump to be president.
Exactly. Like the the majority of the majority of people voted to leave the EU. Doesn't mean it's a good idea, but
exactly. It's exactly.
It's doesn't mean it's the best. It just means that it's the most popular. And as we've seen from the fact that Michael Bay can continue to make fucking movies, it doesn't mean that the most popular is always good. Okay, right. So moving on, we've got Pez Monster asks, "Is the lag cheat solved?" I'd hope so.
Not a clue, but yeah, you would hope so.
Exactly what you guys said.
Yeah,
I don't really know what else to add to that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not something that we can answer. All we can say is we hope so.
Until we've played it online, we can't really answer that.
Yeah, which won't be until launch. So
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, next up is Staz, and he says, "Will I get my 5v5 mode? 5v5 mode? If he's talking about online, it's not going to be this year. We've got 2v2 and 3v3.
Yeah, it's not
maybe in a couple more years.
Yeah, I mean 5v5. You could possibly
greedy.
Could you do it on local consoles?
Yeah,
how many controllers?
Yeah, I think so.
How many controllers does the PS4 support? Is it
5 or 4?
I can't remember, but
I can't.
I would Google it, but I've already got the next answer googled and prepped and ready to go. So. I'm gonna move on from that one.
Well, I've just Googled it myself, and it's 4 apparently.
Oh, okay, that's surprising. I thought you could have more.
4 on each team.
It says Sony's PlayStation 4 will support as many as 4 controllers at the same time, less than the number supported by the PS3 and Microsoft's upcoming Xbox One. Well,
okay,
it's not upcoming, but yeah. So it looks like it's 4. So
that's quite interesting.
So they couldn't even do 5 on one side for a 5v5 online. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, it's definitely not coming this year by the looks of it.
Yeah, I know you can't have more than 4 PSN accounts logged into the PS4 at the same time because we had that problem on Monday when we tried to do some recording.
That must be the reason. Then it must be 4 controllers, 4 accounts. Then maybe
possibly so.
That must be it.
Okay. Abby asks, that's kind of all the PES questions out of the way, so Abby is now asking, it's kind of directed at you, Nico. I think it's because she answered your retweet. It says, in full sentences, describe the process by which an oxbow lake is formed.
What the hell? What's going on?
Nico, I saw that earlier. I did see that earlier on.
I mean, I did say, to be fair, I did say questions. I didn't necessarily say gaming-related questions.
She's going to be very disappointed when she hears this, because I don't have a fucking clue.
Fair enough.
Well, that's what the internet's for. So, an oxbow lake is a U-shaped body of water that forms when a wide meander from the main stem of a river is cut off, creating a freestanding body of water. This landform is so named for its distinctive curved shape, resembling the bow pin of an oxbow.
Coming to a PS4 near you.
I thought we turned into some sort of Attenborough clone then.
And here we see the relative.
Are we going on to like wild boar and the polar bears next?
And the last question for the week is from Joe, and Joe says, have any of us played PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and should he buy it? I've played a game of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I think it's very good.
I have not
played it.
Okay.
Yeah, so there you go.
Okay. Take it away, Ben.
Yeah, speaking with the other guys from the site that have played it, I think Nick, Charles, and Aaron have all played it off the top of my head. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is essentially, if anybody's not seen it yet, it is essentially Battle Royale.
Okay.
On a massive island. So the game starts, it's PC only at the moment. I think there is talk about bringing it to consoles at some point.
Okay, well that would make sense as to why I've not played it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Pick the wrong one. Right podcast for all the PES questions, wrong one for this particular one this time around. Yeah, essentially you start off, there's 100 people in a cargo plane. Everybody has the same, so you have no weapons to start with. You're on the plane, you drop out, you parachute down to the ground. You choose at what point you drop out of the plane as well, so like you're not all dropping out at exactly the same moment. You parachute down to the ground. You then have to run around and like go into abandoned buildings and scavenge for weapons, for all sorts of, like firearms, armor. I think there's some melee weapons and stuff as well, but basically you kind of, what you find is what you use, and you have to survive.
That sounds awesome.
It's really good.
It genuinely does.
It's really good fun, and it seems to be at the moment that I think it's the number one streamed game on Twitch. I think it's sold 3 million units at this point. It's still in early access, so. And
I love that film, by the way.
Battle Royale, yeah, it's
amazing.
The thing is, like, it's one of those concepts where you think, like, yeah, it's one of those things where you think, if someone made a game of this, it'd be really cool.
Someone has.
Yeah, and what happens is when you land, essentially, I think a couple of minutes after, it will say, right, you need to get to the gameplay area, and what happens is there's a big circle drawn on the map, and if you're outside that circle, there's like an energy field that slowly starts to creep in, and as it creeps in, if you're in the energy field, you start to lose health. So like basically, it forces like the circles get smaller and smaller and smaller as the game goes on, and I think I'm right in saying that the smaller the circle is, the more powerful the energy circle is outside of it.
Okay.
So it
basically forces you to get involved, basically.
Yeah, so like you can't necessarily just like hide in a building for the entire game, unless that building happens to be in the middle of a circle.
But that's cool.
Yeah, it's a very cool game. I think Nick was saying earlier it's a little bit on the janky side, but that's to be expected because it's still in early access. But yeah, it's.
And you say that's coming to console as well at some point?
I think there was talk about it coming to console down the line. Let me just double check. I think yes. Will it be coming to console? I think they've said initially there's no plans at that. They said yes, but can't see it running well on consoles. Yes, they've got a 6-month plan to release the full game, and then they're going to bring the game to consoles after the fact. So essentially, it's in early access at the moment. They're looking to get it fully released by the end of the year, by the sounds of it, and possibly next year for consoles. So
it's coming, but just don't know when, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's sort of on the roadmap for it.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
If it does come to console, I will definitely be picking that up.
Yeah, it's a very cool concept, and it's a very... I mean, if you get a chance, check out some streams. Like, I think everyone in the world is fucking streaming it at the minute. But I would strongly recommend checking out Giant Bomb's coverage of it. They've basically I think they've got a series called Murder Island, which they're
amazing.
Yeah, they're sort of christening all of their Battlegrounds content as Murder Island. Yeah,
I will check that out.
Yeah, it's well worth checking out. It's just comedy. Like, you can play it on your own, or you can play it in a team.
Okay.
So if you play it as a team, if you play it as a team, I don't know if at the end of it, if you're the last, I don't know if you're the last remaining team that you then have to turn on your teammates. I don't know if that's the case, or whether you just get ranked in accordance of your team. But yeah, you definitely can hurt your teammates, because I've seen several people run over themselves. Which yeah, it's brilliant. Like, it looks really good. Yeah, I almost want to sell a kidney and upgrade my graphics card so I can play it. So that's going to do.
Sounds very good.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It's definitely worth checking out some videos if you've not really seen much of it. And in answer to Joe's question, yes, you should buy it, because buying things is good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's going to do it for questions. One last thing that I did want to talk about quickly before we sort of leave the podcast. We will have a video of this up shortly, but I just wanted to talk quickly about the Elgato Stream Deck, which we were sent this week. So Elgato, as most people will know, they make capture gear. So you plug your HDMI from your console in, and you plug your HDMI out to your TV, and you plug it into your laptop or your PC, and that will then capture all of your gameplay footage. So for the longest time, it's just been, okay, here's your capture card, set it up, off you go. Just use whatever you can to control it. But now Elgato have released a little device called the Stream Deck, and it's essentially, it's basically like a 15-key keyboard, but under each of the keys is clear plastic, and underneath it is a little LED screen, so you can completely customize it, and you can set up folders as well. So if you have a bunch of icons or a bunch of actions that you want to do when you're, say, streaming, and you use OBS for your streaming, you can have an OBS folder, which you press that button and it brings up all of the commands for within OBS or whichever program you want to use. And again, you can customize every button, so it can be, if you want to, you can just have a picture of your own face, you can have a cat, you can have Superman logo, anything you want, as long as you know what that is, you can press it, and whatever you press, the action will then happen in the game.
So it's essentially a shortcut device in some ways. Yeah,
it's kind of like a sort of standalone macro keyboard, really.
Yeah.
As I say, you can completely customize it. And what's really cool about it is if you're into your streaming, you can set up little icons on there that will say, okay, right, this is your Twitch icon, and it will say, right, currently you've got 35 viewers, and it will just have a live viewer count on there as well. So it's two-way. It interacts with whatever programs you've got, and it also gets information from the internet. So we were the guys at Elgato. Cool. Yeah, it's a really cool device. It looks a bit like a gimmick when you see it initially, but as you start to use it, and as you start to personalize it a bit more, you realize this thing could be really powerful. It kind of gives you a lot of control that really was only present in professional level studio type stuff before. So yeah, I think big thanks to the guys at Elgato for sending that over. As I say, we've got a video that I'm currently in the process of editing down, so that I can get some decent footage of what's going on with it. But yeah, the software's easy to use. The hardware is really well built, and it's a lovely bit of kit. It's about £150, I think it's about £135 if you were looking at getting one, which obviously is a little bit steep, but if you're interested in streaming and if you do a lot of stuff like that, I mean, even if you even if you don't do streaming, like, to be honest, I'm using it now as a hotkey thing for recording. So like if I'm recording if I'm recording any gameplay, I can set it up, and then I've set a button up so that when I hit it, it does the flashback recording. So like it skips back a couple of minutes, starts recording from a couple of minutes ago. So if I've done something cool, I'll hit the button and it'll go, right, okay, I know that's captured for sure.
That's cool. Yeah, that's good.
I've had points where I wish I could do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously built into the Elgato software, but the fact is that now, like, if you're doing it, if you're in the middle of a multiplayer game, like, you go, oh, that's really cool, I wish I could record that. You've got to go over to your computer, like, find the button and go, oh shit, right. Then find the point in the video that you need to go back to, then hit record, and it's just...
Yeah.
It's a faff, whereas if you've got one button, you just go, cool, that was ace, bang, it's recording, and there you go.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it just cuts out all the annoyances, I suppose, doesn't it? So...
Yeah, so...
Awesome.
That's the Stream Deck. Again, thanks to Elgato, and we'll have some words and some videos on that soon. And that's going to do us. That's episode 93 in the can. It's getting late on a Wednesday night now, so I'm probably going to go to bed soon, to be honest. But yeah, always full of the joys of spring. As ever, it has been a pleasure to have Nico and Gary back on the podcast.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, cheers, dude.
Anytime, fellas, anytime. And I'm sure there will be, at some point soon, a WENB podcast.
There will be. We're looking towards the end of this week to have it up. And we will be going through in depth everything all the information that we got, as well as analysing the trailer.
There you go. So that is the WENB podcast. We also have Destination Destiny, which will be covering everything about Destiny's big announcement. Yes. And Nico can barely contain his excitement.
You have no idea.
That will be going up shortly after, or well, I say shortly after. It will be going up as soon as we can possibly get it published, and that will cover. That'll have Nick and Nico talking about all things in that trailer. And I'm sure there will be a lot to clean up after Nico watches that trailer and the gameplay reveal. And finally, I think there's another... You've been a busy podcast bee this past week, Nico.
I have.
You're also...
At the end of this week, I'll have done 4.
I mean, you're also guesting on... is it PlayStation Latest?
Yeah, so Sonny Sangera, who up until recently was working at Ubisoft, has now parted ways, and because of that, it's freed him up to start off a PlayStation podcast, which I was helping him out with last week Monday. That is now live. PlayStation Latest. You can search for that in iTunes podcast app. That'll be there, and that was a lot of fun as well.
Cool. So I think that's we're talking with Sonny and hopefully going to have that possibly like co-linked on or co-hosted on NGB as well to kind of cross-pollination and fusion and all those other bullshit marketing words to see what we can do. But I mean all the best for that one. Like Sonny's a great guy, and he's done well with his Let's Talk WWE. That's
he has.
Yeah, he's doing all right for himself at the minute, that lad. So yes, that's going to do us for the NGB podcast, episode 93. Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed it, leave us a review on iTunes. I know we don't have that many reviews on iTunes, but if you do review us on iTunes, give us a decent rating. Just leave us a review and a couple of comments, and it will start to push us up some rankings. Like, I know at the minute it's difficult to get any traction in this industry sometimes. So if you are listening to this on iTunes, or through iTunes, just drop us a couple of words on there saying this podcast was good.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nico he sounds sexy or whatever. You might be delusional. It's all it's all fair. So that'll help us out no end. And tell your friends. Share
Indeed.
us.
Yeah.
Just everywhere. Like search for NGB, and you'll find us. And it's really appreciated. We do this for the love of it. We don't make any bones about that. And thank you very much. We'll see you next week when Nico might have about recovered. Possibly.
Maybe. Unlikely, but maybe.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Take care.
See you later, guys.
Bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye.